on Dalal Street. The Nifty, that lost about 75 points and it did slip well below that 8600 mark, finally going home at 8,529. Onto the Sensex now. That crashed by almost 200 points and it's moved closer to 28,000 and finally going home at 28,182. After outperforming the blue chips for the last few sessions, mid-caps got battered in trade today. Anuj Singhal joining us to wrap up today's market action. So Anuj, sentiment dampener, whether it's from Sun Pharma or a slew of weak earnings?
Well, today was a bad day for the markets, no two ways about it. It was a make or break day with the kind of earnings that we had. And picture this, despite a 64-point support from Infosys, the Nifty was down 74 points. That tells a lot about the overall market. That tells a lot about overall market sentiment. And that tells a lot about what happened outside Infosys for the rest of the market. To be fair, of course, Sun Pharma was largely responsible for the big fall. But even if you were to take Sun Pharma out, this market was in trouble. Sun Pharma, of course, was collapsed 15% post its profit warning. Let's talk about the stocks then. Three stocks of the day clearly. Actually, the biggest stock of the day today, the biggest story of the day today was Sun Pharma. That stock lost 30,000 crore in market cap, 15% lower on that. And you saw the kind of volumes being traded on Sun Pharma, more than 2,500 crores in cash market alone. Infosys, a close second in terms of being stocks of the day. That stock was up 11%. Quite a bit of re-rating after the numbers. More importantly, the dollar revenue guidance being raised, and that's something that the market really liked. And Bharti Airtel as well, selling some of its African assets, or at least trying to do that. That stock was up about 4%. But it was an earnings-heavy day, and this plate explains what really happened today. You have a lever that was down 2.5%, you have an Asian Paints that was down 4%, and you have an HDFC Bank that was down about 1.5%. Now, none of these earnings were bad. It's just that the market was priced to perfection, or some of these stocks were priced to perfection, and that's why even minor misses, even something, even talking about the future commentary not being too bullish, that resulted in some of these stocks taking the kind of hit that they did. Apart from that, some other losers included stocks like Lupin, Vedanta, Ultratech. All of them were lower quite a bit, almost 5% cuts across the board. In terms of some other heavyweights, we had some other stocks like ONGC, Tata Steel, ITC. All these stocks were lower. In fact, in case of ONGC, almost 4%. Reliance, L&T, ICICI Bank. So really, ex of Infosys, there was no place to hide today. That was the message loud and clear from the market. And in the mid-caps, well, big correction in individual names. Unitech was down 8%, Suzlon was down 6%, and Welspun Corp was down about 7%. The big question is that, was today a bit of a flash in the pan, or was today a bit of a trend changer with the kind of earnings that we have seen? Answer, of course, will be tomorrow and over the next few days. But for now, it looks like 8600, 8650 could be a bit of near-term peak.
Well, thanks, Anuj, for joining us with those details. A terrible Tuesday for Dalal Street. And with that, it's time for a short commercial break here on After the Bell. On the other side, we'll head to New Delhi.